Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg, and welcome back to Hanging with Mangg. And okay, so I have to address Monster Hunter World on PC first. You might notice, probably, that this is not my normal microphone. This is my blue snowball microphone that I use for roll manging. The reason I'm using that for this stream, this video, is because of Monster Hunter World on PC, which is sort of odd, but on Thursday evening, I was planning to stream Monster Hunter World PC edition, just to show it off and give my impressions and blah blah blah. And I had been playing it for a bunch of that day already. And I had been playing it on my 70-inch TV in 4K. I don't have an FPS counter. I didn't even care to check. But it seemed to be running really smoothly. It was beautiful. It was great. I had no issues with, any sort of hardware issues, controller issues, crashing, nothing. It was really awesome. And so I was like, okay, I want to show this off. I want to show this off. I want to stream and talk about this. And so I fired up OBS, and I started up the stream, and I realized that just looking at the microphone audio meter, it was not in sync with my voice at all. Like, there was some massive latency issues. And so I started sort of monitoring it and listening to how it sounded, and it was just complete shit. It was complete garbage. There was all this crackle and dropping audio and latency and just terrible. And so the stream was only up for like 7 minutes. I don't know if anyone actually saw it. But no matter what I did as far as dropping it down to 1080p and dropping it to low settings or whatever, nothing would fix this microphone issue. And as soon as I stopped using Monster Hunter World, as soon as I closed it down, the audio seemed fixed. It worked. Do well. And so I was perplexed. I was like, okay, I know Monster Hunter World has a very high CPU usage. Like, my CPU is pretty close to top of the line. Not probably the best, but pretty close. And I overclocked it a little bit, not excessively, but slightly overclocked. So it's pretty good. And Monster Hunter World uses like 55% CPU usage, which is pretty obscene. And then OBS, for some reason, when it's working with it, seems to use an excessively high amount of CPU. So it's really taxing the CPU, but I just didn't understand how that would really interfere with the microphone. And I do use voice meter. I mostly use it to just sort of slightly adjust the microphone levels and to make sure that it's, I don't know, it's like proper mono or something. I don't know. It's just what I use. But I tried not using that and just doing straight through microphone through the computer, and that didn't work either. So it wasn't voice meter that was the problem. It was just whatever. And it seemed to be a problem with Monster Hunter World. And I was confused because I was like, okay, other people are streaming this. Other people are recording this. They're doing stuff with this. So it's got to be just my problem. So I wasn't sure what happened. And I didn't think of it at the time to use a different microphone, because I was just flustered. But for today, I tried out the blue snowball, and it seems to be working. I hope somebody can confirm at some point. I think it's a little quieter. So I'm trying to speak louder. Yeah, so I don't know what that is. I mean, I don't plan on streaming or recording this much. So it's not a huge deal to me. It's not as big as if this was like launch day and I was playing in a whole Let's Play. But I know they have, I mean, a lot of people are having CPU issues or something is just a little weird about this. So hopefully down the line it gets worked out. I don't know. If not, I mean, you probably won't see much either way, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for me that much. It's just weird. Aside from that, though, holy shit. Monster Hunter World in 4K, everything cranked up to max. That in itself is great. I mean, you are not seeing it in the proper quality. Let's be really clear here. Because I'm playing this on 1080p on a different monitor. But, like, yeah, it looks really good. It runs really well. And most importantly, the loading times are just a fucking dream. Just amazing. Like, I didn't even realize how bad it was on PS4. You know, I just suffered through it. But the loading times to, like, start a hunt, I will show you. On PS4, you had to, like, once you picked the hunt, you had to wait, like, 45 seconds or, I don't know, it felt like that.
It's clothed in effluvium? What kind of crazy monster are we dealing with here?
Here, I'll show you. I'll show you. Let's just start up some random hunt. I don't want to hunt anything too difficult. Let's just do Zora Magnaros. Here we go. Okay, so you would do this, and then this part right here in the upper left, it would be like, I don't even know what it would say, pending or something like that, and that would take forever. But now you can see it already is ready to go before I even had a chance to hit the button. So that took a while on PS4, and I thought it was just like some network issue or I don't know. And then this loading screen also took a long time, and even this right here, that was pretty lengthy compared to what it normally is. And that's because I haven't loaded this map, I think, or something like that this session. I don't know. It's blazingly fast. It's amazing. Maybe if I had like a upgraded proper solid state drive or something, I don't know, in the PS4, it would have been faster, but this is the definitive way to go. So yeah, it runs really well. Loading times are amazing. I've been playing with the Switch Pro controller, which I really like. Although the default controls, if you can look in the upper right, lower right, things like that, they used Xbox One icons, which is obnoxious, because it obviously doesn't perfectly line up. But I think there's going to be, you know, mods soon enough. I think there already is a mod you can get to make it PS4 icons. Switch Pro controller is obviously a little neglected, but there will it'll happen. It'll happen. And yeah, so there's going to be mods. I don't know how that's all going to work or anything like that, but it's pretty exciting. And yeah, so this is the definitive version of Monster Hunter World as far as I'm concerned. Now, we're definitely far behind as far as like events go and stuff, and new monsters. Compared to the PS4, like I don't even know if we have Devil Joe or anything like that. So I don't know exactly how that's gonna come together. I don't know if it's gonna be the same release schedule. I hope not, because that would take a while. But I'm hoping now that they have Monster Hunter World on PC out, I'm hoping that they can just be like, they're working on like fixing a few of the issues, and then they just start cranking out some like DLC. Because there's a lot of monsters that I want to see in this game. Primarily like Zenogre or Januga, or I don't know what the American one is. I think it's Zenogre. And I'd like to see Brachydios, just because that's, he's just a really cool monster. Kind of a pain to fight, but I'd like to see him anyways. There's others, of course. Nargacuga would be cool. Yeah. Anyways. So, yes, if you're debating about a platform to get Monster Hunter World on, PC is the way to go. Although, you do need an above-average computer, I guess. I mean, maybe, hopefully down the line they fixed optimization a little bit, and it's not as horrible. But for now, oh my god, thought I could have timed that, but it took forever. Yeah, that's that. Okay, so this week on this channel, we of course had Final Fantasy IX, just gonna keep on keeping on. And we also had Octopath Traveler, which I am gonna continue for the time being, but it's wearing on me. That game is wearing on me. I really didn't think it would, but it's just so repetitive, and there's just so much dialogue, and it's not very good, and it's just, yeah, it's wearing on me. I'm gonna continue for now, but I could easily just stop and start uploading like, the Doom videos that I have recorded. That's oh, it broke. I didn't even realize. I don't know. So I'm curious to what people think, if they really want me to keep plowing through Octopath. Maybe it gets better. I don't know. I mean, people that are farther along, maybe they can tell me if there's some big improvements coming that really shake up the highly repetitive nature. But I don't know. If Chapter 3 is similar to Chapter 2 for each character, I don't know. I'm thinking Chapter 3 is probably going to be the last one for each character, but maybe that's just wishful thinking. Because, I mean, I've got a lot of Doom videos sitting on my hard drive, and I've got a lot of Final Fantasy videos sitting on my hard drive, and then I've got a lot of Ultima videos sitting on my hard drive, and I actually have, shit. I've paused the Ultima series for quite a while now because there's just so many things I need to upload. So, in lieu of anything else, I could just start clearing shop, as they say.
It's trying to get up.
Brace for the shock. Don't let it shake you off.
Because we're not going to be starting anything really new Oh, you bastard. I'm not gonna start anything new until... It's either gonna be Spider-Man or Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And I don't know which one I want to do a Let's Play of. You know, I've done Let's Plays of both of the other Tomb Raider games, so that's definitely a factor. And since Spider-Man, I'm pretty sure is very open world, that's usually better to do on my own. Bullshit. Bullshit.
Hey, partner.
Hello? Okay. I think I'm overloading my USB ports. I think I gotta do some reconfiguring because it... Like, all of my USB ports just, like, failed. Anyways. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. What was I talking about? I was talking about Tomb Raider. Yeah. So I think I'm leaning recording Tomb Raider. Unless people have some strong feelings about me recording Spider-Man.
Nergigante has retreated.
Good. That's one problem
Well,
we
might
don't want to deal with.
prefer to see that. But either way.
Zora Magdaros is getting back on all fours. It's continuing its advance. Watch yourself.
All right. Prepare to intercept at the barrier. Hunters, hold your positions on its back.
Third magma core destroyed.
Okay. This microphone keeps failing. This is gonna be... we gotta soldier through this. I'm gonna have to keep a constant watch on this microphone level. Now, I don't remember where I left off. Okay, well, I was talking about Monster Hunter World Lance, and how I was playing through the game with the Lance. I got up to Anjanath. I failed a bunch of times with the Lance, for whatever reason. So I made the longsword. I killed him in, like, one try with the longsword, and so I'm just like, okay, longsword's pretty cool. And I've just been using that since. I mean, I like the longsword a lot. I used it a hell of a lot in Try, way back in the day. But I will have to get back to the Lance because there's an old favorite of mine, and I should be good with it. This week on Exploring Series, I uploaded the Q&A video, of course, which, you know, not many people watch those, but I enjoy making them because I like rambling about random subjects for an hour. And it was good. I like doing those. And then this week I worked on the first SCP video. So this one I was the least worried about. Because this was just the introduction. This was all the basic concepts. And most of the stuff I just did, like, off the top of my head. Like this is stuff that I could just summarize to anybody.
Okay.
Like if we were sitting at a bar and you were like, "Hey, what is SCP? What's that all about?" I could just tell you. But of course, you know, I did look up a bunch of things because there have been new developments since I stopped reading. Thaumiel is this new classification. I mean, maybe when I stopped reading there was maybe one, but I don't even remember. Probably not. I think it's just a really fresh concept. Pretty cool concept, of course. But it seems like, based on the reading that I was doing, different like the subreddits and different posts and on the wiki forums and discussions and whatever, it seems like they're slowly gravitating away from horror.
Hey, partner.
Horror was never like a necessity for an SCP entry. I mean, in the early days there were plenty that were just weird, not horrific. But from the sounds of it, I guess maybe there's just more and more mainstream appeal, and so the horror is lessened. I don't know. Obviously there's so many SCPs that I have not read. Pretty much almost everyone from 3,000 to even like 2,000 on, I have very little knowledge about. So I think a lot of references that I'm going to make throughout the videos, if it's just like a general reference, it's probably going to be to one of the earlier SCPs. So like the introduction video, practically everyone that I reference is a very early SCP that I just was familiar with. There were a couple that I specifically referenced from later on, like when I talked about Thaumiels, obviously I had to talk about later ones. But yeah, my knowledge is not up to complete snuff yet, and it's like I don't know if I'm gonna read a tremendous number of SCPs that I don't have to. You know, when I'm talking about the Church of the Broken God, obviously I'm going to read everyone related to the Church of the Broken God, because that's very important. But for the most part, I don't know if I need to read, like, some random 3,213 or whatever. I don't know what that one is. I picked it off the top of my head. We'll see. So right now I'm planning videos on the major groups of interest. So the Church of Broken God, the Sarcosis, probably on the Scarlet King, and the Global Occult Coalition, I think it's what it is. I'm planning to do a video on SCP-001, which, if you don't know, is not a single SCP, because that's a very coveted position.
We have an emergency.
So instead of just giving it to one person, be like, this is SCP-001. This is what's the first SCP. You know, the one that started it all. That's obviously a pretty big deal. So instead they have proposals, where you can write a proposal for what is SCP-001. You know, what is the one that started the whole foundation, started this whole process. And so you've got some really, like, most of them are almost more like tales than actual SCPs. They all have different, like, formats and stuff like that. They're all pretty unique. But there's some really good ones there. There's a lot more than when I stopped reading. When I stopped reading, there was like 5. Now there's like 15 or something. So, obviously, if I did a video on SCP-1, I wouldn't go over all of them, but I'd probably go over like 7 or 8 short summaries. And I think it's, you know, I think it's kind of cool that no one really knows what is the first SCP. There's just a lot of thoughts, and you know, it's really a showcase of canonicity within the Foundation. Like there's no even accepted first SCP. There's like 15 of them. I think the cable that I use for this microphone is really sensitive. I think it I gotta get a new one, basically. Which is funny because I thought I just got a new one not that long ago, but I guess it gets abused. I'm also planning a video on some of my favorite SCPs, like I mean, 682 is one of my favorites, absolute favorites. It's just so fucking disgusting and unique. So I'd like to do one that just really explains it all, goes through the whole exploratory logs and really talks about it. But it's also so important now to Sarkicism and their war with the Church of the Broken God. I think this is a headcanon. When I stopped reading, or at least a few years ago, there was a lot of like talk about, hey, is 682 the flesh that hates? Is that related to Sarkicism? And the guy that created Sarkicism was not the creator of 682. It's just like a happy coincidence. So he didn't say like, oh no, I mean, he didn't say it's related. But it's just so like seemingly connected so well. Because Sarkicism is all about like disease and infection and flesh, you know, retaking the world and things like that, cannibalism, blah blah blah. And 682 being like the ultimate just flesh transforming disease and just almost sentient, really, or sapient. They fit together so well. So, you know, back in the day, I was like, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see, you know, the proper connection between the two. And I guess I have to brush up now, but it seems like that's like the proper headcanon for most people, is that 682 is like the ultimate weapon of the Sarkists, and that's what the Church of the Broken God is like fighting against mainly. So I don't know if it really needs its own video when Sarkicism is connected to it so well, but I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know if people will just want me to do, like, explaining videos. Because there's a lot of SCPs that are not immediately clear. You know, there's a bunch of SCPs that, because of the technical language used, because of, you know, lengthy paragraphs and sort of just little breadcrumbs, it's not immediately clear, like the impact or whatever, the meaning is not immediately clear. And I'm pretty sure there are plenty of videos that do explain a number of SCPs, but I don't know if those are, I don't think those are more popular than reading videos. I don't know. I'm obviously not familiar with the SCP video scene. So maybe people just want a bunch of like 3-minute videos where I explain a bunch of different SCPs. I don't know. Those would be very easy to make. I mean, I could do like 2 of those a week if that's what people wanted. We'll see. We'll see how the first one is received. See what people think. I'm pretty sure I'm doing Church of the Broken God next week. That very, very much won on the Patreon polls. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know when exactly we'll get into a video on a single SCP. But I'm sure we will. Okay. So, yeah, that's what's happening on the Exploring series. So, board gaming. This week, I started playing Mansions of Madness, 2nd edition with my mom. And that game is fantastic. Really, really good. I don't know if I can quite say worth the money, because it was $100, and most of that money is because of the miniatures, because there's a lot of, you know, mythos miniatures in the game, and we actually don't use any of them because it's just so, they're so cumbersome and annoying and unnecessary. You don't need miniatures. And I don't know, I was having trouble with the bases. Like, the miniatures were not fitting in properly. And I think for the 1st edition, I actually used glue. I think I glued all the miniatures to the bases. And I just don't feel like doing that. So we just use the little tiles. Like the Arkham Horror, Eldritch Horror little tiles. And those convey the same meaning. And that's it. So, I wish they had a version that had no miniatures for like $40. I would have bought that. But they don't. And they probably never will. But it's really entertaining. It's so much better than the 1st edition. It's like laughable. Because...
Wait, this came from the Elder Dragon the field team leader assigned us to. Let's track it.
Because... all, like, the cumbersome bullshit in the 1st edition has now been resigned to the app. You have to play with the app. And I know some people don't like apps in board games and blah, 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 but it is such a big improvement. It is really good. So, first of all, in the 1st edition, you had to have a... I don't know what they called it, a keeper, a GM, or an overlord, I don't know. You had to have somebody running the game, and then everyone else was players. Which already is sort of lame. This microphone, we'll soldier through it, it's okay. With the app, everyone gets to play, which is good. And in the 1st edition, you had to set up like the entire board, the entire map, at the start of the game. So you set up like the entire mansion or whatever, and you put out all these cards, and you had to, God, there was like different like clue cards. It's getting worse. This microphone's getting worse. Oh, gosh. I'm not even, like, touching it. I don't think it's even the cable's problem. I don't know what it is. You had to have all these clue cards to solve the scenario, and they were scattered around, and you had to, like, properly assign them. Okay, I don't even know how long I can go with this. I'm gonna stop. I gotta just... Okay, this is gonna be a short video just because this is so bullshit. In the 2nd edition of Mansions of Madness, everything's done in the app. So you start with like one tile, and you explore the map as you go, and the app like reveals the map as you move through the scenario. It's so much better. It's really incredible, and it's a great like mythos experience. It's probably like the best Mythos board game. My mom likes it a hell of a lot more than the card game, the Arkham Horror card game. I'm still on the fence a little bit because I think the card game offers so much. I don't know. I think it has more legs than Mansions of Madness in the long run. Like, on your turn, I think you have more options available to you in the card game. Whereas Mansions of Madness, you only have, like, a few actions you can do each turn. But as, like, a shared group experience, Mansions of Madness is really awesome. So we played through a couple scenarios. It's a long game. Like, it's a pretty long game. You're looking at a couple hours, 3 hours, maybe even longer for some of the scenarios. But we've played 2 so far, and I played one yesterday on my own. Solo. I played through a scenario, and I lost. I got close. I was very close. But, yeah, I actually played through the entire thing, which normally I really dislike solo board gaming. But because of the app, it made it a lot easier and a lot more entertaining. It was good. Yeah, not as good as playing with other people, but still pretty good. So that's that. As far as RPGs, I don't have much to talk about, obviously, because there wasn't anything this week. I guess we're going to be doing a one-shot tomorrow, although people keep dropping out, so we'll see. And then that one-shot will probably carry over to next week, although, again, I don't know. And then we're going to be starting a Ziggy campaign, I guess. We're still, like, really debating on what he wants to run and what we want to play and things like that. We still haven't narrowed it down. We have a lot of options available to us at this point. Because he'd like to run, you know, we're talking about Shadow the Demon Lord, Dungeon World. A few of us would love to go back to the Sprawl because we love that shit, but I think he wants to wait. Then Mert the other day brought up Star Wars. Like, playing a Star Wars campaign, which I think I talked about last week. And, you know, so we're kind of discussing Edge of the Empire, but, you know, it's a new system. Call of Cthulhu. Ziggy has a campaign that he bought. He bought it like a used bookstore, a campaign book. I think it was Tatters of the King. And so he wants to run that at some point. I'd like to run Mask of Nyarlathotep at some point. The new 7th edition version that's really improved. And I've been thinking about going back to like an SCP campaign, because some of you may remember long ago I did a Numenera campaign that was all SCP related, and it was really unique, really cool stuff. But I thought what would be even better is like use the Sprawl or something like it and set it in modern day. But because, you know, they would be playing as like an MTF, they would be Foundation agents, they would have access to like Sprawl level technology. But they would be dealing with some crazy threats. So that would be cool. I'd like to think about that at some point. But yeah, we have a lot of stuff to think about. I don't know exactly how it's going to go. I think we're going to do a roll for the Shadow of the Demon Lord effect, because there's that D20 roll that determines like the main effect that the Shadow of the Demon Lord has on a campaign. So last time we had an infection or whatever. So this time, you know, there's 19 other effects that we could play around with. So I think we're going to roll just to see what it would be, to see if Ziggy has any ideas and is given inspiration by the roll. So we might be going Shadow of the Demon Lord, which I have no complaints about, but who knows. And I guess that's about it. Not really much else to say, especially with the microphone cutting out. But I wanted to talk about Monster Hunter World, and I figured I'd show it. Although on your screen, it probably doesn't look any different than PS4. But those loading times, you saw those loading times. Yeah, really good. If you have a good enough computer and you don't have Monster Hunter World on PC, what are you doing? yeah, I guess that's about it. So check out the SCP video tomorrow. The video is, I wrote it assuming a person has no idea what SCP is. So if you're not completely familiar with it, that video is for you. And we've got Final Fantasy IX, Octopath Traveler. Let me know what your thoughts on Octopath Traveler. You know, especially like if you're not watching it at all, but you would watch like some Doom videos. I mean, those people I'd like to hear from as well. But alright, my name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg, and I'll see you fine folks next week.